Welcome to the Stoic Compass, where timeless wisdom meets the realities of modern life. Imagine this: you've been thriving. The gym is no longer a chore, it's your sanctuary. Your passions have reignited, and the version of yourself you've been striving for is finally coming into focus. Everything feels aligned. Then, suddenly, your phone buzzes. It's her. At that moment, your heart skips a beat. Memories and emotions flood in, uninvited. Your mind starts racing. Why now? What does this mean? You find yourself at a pivotal juncture. One path promises progress, anchored in the discipline and growth you've worked hard to achieve. The other threatens to drag you back into patterns you vowed to leave behind. Familiar. This isn't just a message, it's a defining moment. A test of your progress and your ability to remain in control. And here's the hard truth: most people fail this test. They act on impulse, driven by emotion, surrendering the power they've fought so hard to reclaim. But you're not like most people. Not today. Today, we're breaking down the single most critical mistake men make when a woman reaches out. We'll uncover how Stoic principles can empower you to navigate this situation with wisdom, composure, and confidence. This is your opportunity to stay centered, choose growth over regression, and act with intention. Before we dive in, let's take a moment. If you're here to level up, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps us build a community of clarity, strength, and resilience. 1. Recognize the emotional surge. Let's start with the first and most immediate challenge: the surge of emotion. When her message comes through, it's like a spark igniting a dry field. Excitement, curiosity, anxiety, or a mix of all three, can hit you all at once. This flood of emotion is natural, but here's where most go wrong: they mistake emotion for instruction. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." What does this mean for you? Simply this: emotions are signals, not commands. They're there to alert you, to help you understand your inner world, but they should never dictate your actions. The mistake: reacting impulsively. Picture this: her name pops up on your screen, and your first instinct is to respond immediately. It feels urgent, as though not replying right away might send the wrong message. But that instant reaction, driven by adrenaline, often does more harm than good. It's the emotional equivalent of stepping onto a slippery slope. You're not thinking clearly, you're reacting. Here's what you need to do instead: pause. The pause is your power. When you give yourself a moment to breathe, you're creating space between the stimulus and your response. This space allows you to reflect, to ground yourself, and to ensure that your next move is deliberate and aligned with your values. Practical tip: try the 3-breath rule. When the message arrives, put your phone down. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 6. This simple act signals to your brain that it's time to shift from reaction to reflection. Now, use this pause to ask yourself key questions. What am I feeling right now? Is this emotion rooted in truth, or is it just a reflex? How does responding impulsively align with the person I'm striving to become? By taking this moment to pause and reflect, you're reclaiming your power. You're showing yourself that you're not at the mercy of fleeting emotions. Instead, you're acting with intention, embodying the Stoic principle of self-mastery. This isn't about delaying indefinitely or playing mind games, it's about ensuring that your response reflects strength, clarity, and purpose. Remember, the way you handle this first surge of emotion sets the tone for everything that follows. 2. Avoid instant responses. Now that you've recognized the emotional surge and taken a moment to pause, the next critical step is avoiding the temptation to respond instantly. Replying immediately might feel like the polite or natural thing to do, but here's the truth: it can convey neediness, eagerness, or a lack of self-control. These aren't traits you want to project, especially if you've been working to ground yourself in strength and self-respect. Introducing the concept of intentional delay is key. The 24-hour rule is your ally here. It's simple yet powerful. When you receive a message from her, resist the urge to reply right away. Instead, wait. Give yourself a full day to reflect and decide how to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. Why 24 hours? Because this time frame allows you to process your emotions, evaluate your intentions, and consider your priorities. It shifts the interaction from a reactive space to an intentional one. It's not about playing games or being manipulative, it's about preserving your peace and ensuring your response aligns with the person you're becoming. Practical tip: use this time to engage in activities that center you. Go for a workout, journal your thoughts, or spend time on a personal project. These actions ground you and reinforce your focus on self-improvement. When you finally craft your reply, do so from a place of calm and clarity, not emotional turbulence. For example, instead of responding to her, "Hey, how have you been?" text with an immediate and overly enthusiastic, "I've missed you," try a neutral and composed reply like, "I've been well, thanks for asking. How about you?" This keeps the tone balanced and reflects emotional independence. Remember, waiting doesn't weaken the connection. It strengthens your position. It demonstrates that you value your time, your boundaries, and your growth. By delaying your response intentionally, you send a clear message: you are in control, not the circumstances or emotions of the moment. That's the power of the 24-hour rule. 3. Guard against over-analysis. Once you've paused and avoided the initial temptation to respond impulsively, a new challenge often arises: overthinking her intentions. It's easy to fall into the trap of dissecting her words, analyzing the timing, or trying to decode hidden meanings. While this might feel productive, it's counterproductive. Overanalysis leads to a cycle of assumptions, self-doubt, and unnecessary mental clutter. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Overthinking is a prime example of this. Instead of spiraling into a maze of hypothetical scenarios, shift your focus inward. Ask yourself the most important question: what do I want from this exchange? This reframes the situation entirely. Her message, whatever its intention, is neutral. It only holds power if you let it. By focusing on your goals, values, and growth, you regain control of the narrative. What matters isn't why she reached out but how you choose to engage, or not engage, from a place of strength. Practical tip: when your mind begins to race with questions like, "Does she miss me?" or "Is she testing the waters?" gently redirect your thoughts. Remind yourself that her intentions are not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to ensure that your actions align with your personal growth. For example, imagine her message is, "Hey, I've been thinking about you." The old you might have spent hours wondering, what does she mean? Does she want to get back together? Is she feeling guilty? Instead, pause and ask, what do I want from this interaction? How does my response reflect the person I am today? A neutral, confident reply like, "It's nice to hear from you. How have you been?" keeps the tone light and balanced. Alternatively, if her message feels vague or misaligned with your progress, it's okay to choose silence. No response is a valid response when it protects your peace and reinforces your boundaries. Overthinking creates noise. Clarity comes from simplifying the situation. Focus on what you can control, your response and your mindset. By grounding yourself in the present and steering clear of assumptions, you ensure that you remain true to your values and your journey. This approach not only protects your progress but also showcases your emotional independence, a rare and powerful quality in any interaction. Remember, the narrative is yours to shape. Don't let overanalysis hand the pen to someone else. 4. Nostalgia and its illusions. Nostalgia has a way of turning the past into something it never truly was. It casts a golden glow over old memories, amplifying the good while conveniently erasing the bad. When someone from your past reaches out, nostalgia can be a powerful force, making you forget the reasons things ended and tempting you to revisit old patterns. But here's the truth, the past is not as perfect as nostalgia makes it seem. Those moments of laughter and connection were real, yes. But so were the misunderstandings, the frustrations, and the feelings of being unappreciated. Epictetus reminds us, what matters most is not what happens, but how you respond to it. And in this moment, your response matters more than ever. When nostalgia strikes, pause and ground yourself in reality. Ask yourself these crucial questions. Has anything fundamentally changed? Have the circumstances, or the people involved, truly evolved? Does re-engaging with this person honor the progress I've made? The answers to these questions are often sobering. Without real, tangible change, there's a high chance that re-engaging will lead to the same cycles you worked so hard to break free from. Growth doesn't happen in isolation. If nothing has shifted in their behavior or your dynamic, the same patterns are likely to repeat. Practical tip: counteract nostalgia's pull by writing down the reasons the relationship ended. Reflect on the lessons you've learned and the person you've become since then. Use this exercise to anchor yourself in the present and to remind yourself of the progress you've achieved. For example, if her message stirs memories of a shared vacation or heartfelt conversations, balance those thoughts with the reality of the arguments or the ways you felt unseen. Nostalgia whispers promises of rekindled happiness, but the reality often fails to live up to that idealized version. When responding, prioritize your peace and growth over familiarity. If her message aligns with who you are today and the boundaries you've set, engage thoughtfully. A reply like, "It's good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well," keeps things neutral and respectful. However, if her message feels like a door to old, unproductive patterns, it's okay to leave it unanswered. Silence is a powerful choice when it protects your progress. The past is a lesson, not a destination. Nostalgia may try to rewrite history, but your future is what truly matters. Honor the growth you've achieved, and don't let nostalgia drag you back into a story you've already outgrown. By staying rooted in the present, you ensure that your actions reflect clarity, strength, and unwavering commitment to your journey. 5. Set boundaries, not expectations. Boundaries are often misunderstood. They aren't walls designed to shut people out, they are expressions of self-respect and guidelines for how others should treat you. When someone from your past reaches out, your boundaries act as a safeguard, ensuring you remain true to yourself and the progress you've made. Imagine this scenario: she sends a late-night message saying, "Hey, are you up?" On the surface, it might seem harmless or even flattering. But how you respond to such messages reflects your standards and priorities. Do you reply instantly, accommodating her timing, or do you pause and assess whether engaging aligns with your values? Here's the truth: setting boundaries is not about being unkind, it's about prioritizing yourself. When you respond to a message like this, let your reply reflect your standards. For example, you might say, "I'm not available right now. Let's connect another time." This response communicates two important things. 1. Your time and energy are valuable. 2. You are in control of your availability. Practical tip: practice phrasing that sets boundaries without hostility. Responses like, "Thanks for reaching out, but now isn't a good time," or "I'll get back to you when I'm free," are clear, firm, and respectful. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to accommodating others. However, it's crucial to remember that boundaries aren't about rejecting others, they're about protecting the life you've worked hard to build. When you enforce boundaries, you prioritize your peace, growth, and well-being over fleeting moments of attention or nostalgia. It's also important to note that boundaries teach others how to interact with you. If she values reconnecting with you, she will respect the limits you've set. If she doesn't, that's a clear indication of misaligned priorities, and one you shouldn't ignore. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. By setting boundaries, you assert mastery over your life. You ensure that your actions align with your values and that your interactions enhance, rather than disrupt, your journey. Boundaries aren't limitations, they are liberations. They free you to focus on what truly matters, your growth, your peace, and the life you're creating. So the next time someone reaches out, ask yourself, does this align with my boundaries? If the answer is no, honor that truth. Because in doing so, you honor yourself. 6. Validation comes from within. One of the most common traps when someone reaches out is seeking validation. Her message might feel like a victory, a sign that you still matter to her, or that she's thinking about you. But here's the reality, her message doesn't define your worth. It's simply a neutral event until you assign meaning to it. The Stoic way reminds us that our sense of value and self-worth should never depend on the fleeting actions of others. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If your confidence relies on her words or actions, you're building your foundation on unstable ground. Instead, remind yourself, I am enough. Your value is intrinsic, unshaken by external events. When you internalize this truth, everything changes. You stop chasing reassurance or approval because you already know your worth. This shift fosters a sense of calm assurance that can be felt in every interaction. Practical tip: before responding to her message, take a moment to ask yourself, what am I telling myself about my worth right now? If your response stems from a desire for validation, pause and realign your mindset. Confidence rooted within doesn't need outside affirmation. For example, if she texts, "I've been thinking about you," the old you might reply with, "Really? I've been missing you too." While it may feel satisfying at the moment, this kind of response often comes from a place of needing her approval. Instead, try something neutral and grounded. "It's nice to hear from you. How have you been?" This response shows emotional independence and composure. Sometimes, the best response is no response at all. If her message feels unnecessary, misaligned with your progress, or serves no purpose in your current path, it's okay to let it go unanswered. Silence is powerful because it demonstrates that your peace isn't dependent on external validation. Remember, your value comes from your principles, the growth you've achieved, and the person you're becoming. Her acknowledgement or lack thereof doesn't add to or diminish your worth. When you stop seeking validation and start living in alignment with your values, you embody true strength and self-mastery. That's the kind of confidence that resonates deeply and transforms every interaction. 7. Master your emotions. Emotions are inevitable and deeply human. They give color to life, shape our experiences, and often provide valuable insights. However, when emotions are allowed to dictate your actions unchecked, they can lead to choices that are misaligned with your principles and long-term growth. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing what you feel, it's about understanding, acknowledging, and channeling those emotions constructively. When her message arrives, it might ignite a cascade of feelings: excitement, curiosity, hope, or even frustration. These emotions are neither good nor bad, they simply are. But what matters is what you do next. Acting on emotion alone risks pulling you into old patterns, giving away the power and progress you've worked so hard to achieve. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus observed, "No man is free who is not master of himself." To achieve emotional freedom, you must step back and engage with your feelings thoughtfully. This is not the time to let fleeting emotions override your values. Pause and reflect. The first and most crucial step is to pause. When emotions surge, they demand immediate action, but this is precisely when inaction becomes your strength. By taking a moment to pause, you create space to reflect rather than react. Ask yourself, What am I feeling right now? Is it excitement, anger, or hope? Why am I feeling this way? Is this emotion rooted in reality or assumptions? How does acting on this emotion serve my growth and goals? By identifying your emotions and their origins, you create clarity. This clarity gives you the ability to choose your response deliberately rather than impulsively. Acknowledge without judgment. Recognizing your emotions is not about suppressing or ignoring them. Instead, it's about acknowledging them without judgment. For example, if you feel a pang of hope that her message might mean reconciliation, admit that to yourself. It's okay to feel hopeful, but it's not okay to let that hope override your commitment to self-respect and personal progress. Respond with intention. Once you've paused and reflected, decide how to respond in a way that aligns with your values. Remember, your response, or lack of one, should reflect your growth and self-assurance. For example, if her message is vague, such as, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," consider responding with neutrality, "It's nice to hear from you. How have you been?" This shows composure and emotional independence without over-investing. Alternatively, if the message feels misaligned with your journey or reopens emotional wounds, silence is a valid and powerful choice. Not replying isn't avoidance, it's a deliberate act of self-respect. When you master your emotions, you demonstrate to yourself, and others, that you are in control of your narrative. You are no longer swayed by the highs and lows of external events. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, choosing clarity over chaos, and wisdom over impulse. By practicing emotional mastery, you solidify the progress you've made. You honor your growth by ensuring that every action reflects the person you are striving to become. It's not about suppressing emotions but about using them as tools for understanding and alignment. Mastering your emotions is a lifelong practice, but each moment of self-restraint strengthens your foundation. Remember, your emotions are part of your humanity, but your ability to choose how to act on them defines your strength. 8. Choose yourself first. When her message arrives, it can feel like a victory, a sign that you still hold a place in her thoughts. But here's the truth, her message is not the win, it's neutral. The real victory lies in how you choose to respond. This moment is about reclaiming your power, ensuring your actions reflect your growth, and honoring the person you've become. The mistake most make. Treating her message as an invitation to revert to old patterns, seeking approval, overanalyzing intentions, or compromising their progress. The Stoic way is different. It's about asking a single, powerful question: does this interaction align with the person I'm striving to become? Choosing yourself first isn't selfish, it's self-respect. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and peace are valuable and should not be sacrificed for fleeting validation or uncertain outcomes. As Epictetus taught, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. Your choices should reflect the person you've worked to become, not the version of you tied to the past. In this moment, your power is your choice. You can either move forward, anchored in your values, or allow the past to pull you back. Reassess your priorities. When her message arrives, take a moment to reflect on your priorities. What are your current goals? How have you grown since the last interaction? Does engaging with her align with your vision for the future? This reflection will clarify whether responding serves your journey or detracts from it. Decide with intention. If the interaction aligns with your growth, engage thoughtfully. A composed, neutral response shows self-respect and emotional independence. For example, "Thank you for reaching out. I hope all is well with you." This response is polite and balanced, maintaining your dignity while keeping the conversation in check. If the interaction feels misaligned or unnecessary, it's okay to choose silence. Not every message requires a reply. Sometimes, the strongest statement is prioritizing your peace over engagement. Honor your growth. Every decision you make is a reflection of your values. Choosing yourself first means protecting the progress you've made, even if it's uncomfortable. It's about setting a standard for how you engage with the world, one that prioritizes clarity, confidence, and composure. Example. Imagine she sends a message like, "Hey, I've been thinking about you a lot lately." While it might be tempting to dive into the emotional pull of her words, pause and ground yourself. Ask. Does this message suggest real growth or change in her? Does responding honor my journey, or does it risk reopening old wounds? If the message feels genuine and aligns with your values, a neutral reply like, "I appreciate you reaching out. I've been focusing on my path and wish you the best in yours," keeps you in control. If the message feels like a disruption, it's equally valid to let it go unanswered. Choosing yourself first isn't about arrogance, it's about integrity. It's about creating a life that reflects your hard-earned progress and refusing to compromise it for temporary emotions or unresolved dynamics. Her message might stir feelings, but your reaction defines its impact. Remember, you are not defined by her words but by the principles you live by. Each time you choose yourself, you reinforce your growth and demonstrate that your path is guided by wisdom, not impulse. In choosing yourself, you show that your journey isn't about external validation but about becoming the best version of yourself. That's where the real power lies. Your growth, your peace, and your vision, these are sacred. They represent the hard work, dedication, and discipline you've poured into becoming the person you are today. A single text, no matter how unexpected or tempting, should never undermine the progress you've achieved. Whether you choose to respond or remain silent, let your choice reflect the values and priorities that define your journey. Each decision you make is an opportunity to reinforce your growth, a chance to choose clarity over confusion, strength over impulse, and purpose over distraction. This moment isn't just about her. It's about you and the life you're building. Remember that your power lies in staying aligned with the person you're becoming. If you found value in this message, let's continue this journey together. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel to help build a community rooted in strength, clarity, and resilience. Your next move isn't just about her, it's about honoring your progress and fully embracing the person you're meant to be. Let's grow, one step at a time.